What's up guys, it's your boy Glenn from Glenn Prince Tech. Today I have some troubling news for iOS users as it relates to their privacy. Hackers have found vulnerabilities in Apple's iOS operating system. In this video, I will explain what these vulnerabilities are and what you can do to prevent yourself from being a victim to these hackers. Stay tuned. Following a routine iOS investigation, ZecOps, a company based in San Francisco which specializes in cybersecurity, found a number of suspicious events that's affecting the default mail application on iOS, dating as far back as January of 2018. ZecOps analyzed these events and discovered an exploitable vulnerability affecting Apple's iPhones and iPads. This works by the attacker sending a seemingly blank but specially crafted email to a victim's mailbox, enabling it to trigger the operating system's vulnerabilities through the iOS mobile mail application. The email would crash the app, forcing the user to reboot their device. During the reboot, hackers would then be able to access information on the device such as contact details, photos, confidential messages, and whatever information the mail app had access to. Even more alarming is the fact that when this happens, the emails that trigger the hack are nowhere to be found. ZecOps believe this is done by the hackers to cover up their tracks. According to ZecOps, one of the victims of this hack is a client from a Fortune 500 North American technology company. Other victims were an executive from a carrier in Japan, a VIP from Germany, managed security service providers in Saudi Arabia and Israel, and a journalist in Europe. An executive from a Swiss enterprise is also suspected to have been a victim of this hack. In an interview with Motherboard, former Israeli Defense Force security researcher and CEO of ZecOps, Zoc Avraham, said they concluded with high confidence that the attacks were exploited in the wild, meaning they are affecting real-world users as opposed to test systems. He further stated that one of the vulnerabilities is what's known as a remote zero-click. This kind of attack is especially dangerous because it can be used by an attacker against anyone on the internet, and the target gets infected without any interaction, hence the term zero-click. These vulnerabilities are known as 0 days. Vulnerabilities or exploits called 0 days are bugs in software or hardware that are unknown to their manufacturers and can be used to hack targets. They can be particularly effective attacks because they use flaws that are not patched yet, meaning there's no code deployed to specifically defend against them. ZecOps said after being alerted to suspicious crashes on their customers' iPhones last summer, they reproduced the results of the hack in their lab to verify their findings. ZecOps said that all tested iOS versions are vulnerable, including iOS 13.4.1. Based on their data, these bugs were actively triggered on iOS 11.2.2 and potentially earlier. They also stated that iOS 6 and above are vulnerable. iOS 6 was released in 2012. Versions prior to iOS 6 might be vulnerable too, but they haven't checked earlier versions. At the time of iOS 6 release, iPhone 5 was on the market. ZecOps said that when an attack is carried out on a device which runs iOS 12, users may notice a sudden crash of the mail application. On iOS 13, besides a temporary slowdown, it would not be noticeable. Failed attacks would not be noticeable on iOS 13 if another attack is carried afterwards and deletes the email. In failed attacks, the emails that would be sent by the attacker would show the message, "This message has no content." ZecOps confirmed that they reported their findings to Apple last month. They had high praise for Apple and thanked the tech giant's product security and engineering team for swiftly developing a patch to block these vulnerabilities from further abuse. ZecOps also stated that Apple have since released a patch for their operating system vulnerabilities in iOS 13.4.5 beta. The fixes are expected to arrive for the non-beta versions of iOS in an update to all users in the coming weeks. At the time of ZecOps' public report, Apple declined to comment on the findings. In an official statement earlier, Apple had this to say, and I quote, "Apple takes all reports of security threats seriously. We have thoroughly investigated the researchers' report and based on the information provided, have concluded these issues do not pose an immediate risk to our users." The researcher identified 3 issues in Mail, but alone they are insufficient to bypass iPhone and iPad security protections, and we have found no evidence they were used against customers. These potential issues will be addressed in a software update soon. We value our collaboration with security researchers to help keep our users safe, and will be crediting the researcher for their assistance. End quote. ZecOps said in order to safeguard yourself from these vulnerabilities, use the latest iOS beta available. If using a beta version is not possible, consider disabling the Mail application and use Outlook or Gmail, as they are not vulnerable, according to ZecOps. My question to you is this: who do you listen to in a situation like this? Do you listen to Apple and simply wait for a software update? Or do you do what ZecOps recommends? Let me know in the comment section. I can see this report from ZecOps reigniting the debate of which mobile operating system is more secure for its users. In the eyes of the public, iOS has been leading the race for many years, but there are many people out there who see things differently. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more tech videos. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Peace.